Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, we're meeting again after a long break with the barakah of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah that Allah has made us fast Ramadan and do qiyam in Ramadan and kept us alive until now, so we can continue with the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We did discuss a long part of the topic, alhamdulillah, of the seerah. We've been through the life of the Prophet so far, from birth to bi'tha to hijrah, even all the fights that happened, subhanallah, the Badr, Uhud, Ghazwat al-Khandaq, and then Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, which was the major change after all this. Just turn that, stop it because it's affecting the mic. Just make it, fix it, that's all. Jazakallah khair. And after Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, the Prophet ﷺ had a peace of mind from Quraysh, so he started going with battalions to all the Arabs that were involved in Ghazwat al-Khandaq, giving them the lessons of retrieval. And then he went to, we had the Khaybar, and Conquer of Khaybar, subhanAllah, was another fath for the Muslims. And after all this, he sent all the letters to all the kings, and there was Ghazwat Mu'tah, or Mawqa'at Mu'tah, not Ghazwa, Mawqa'at Mu'tah, and the death of the Sahaba, and the rise of Khalid ibn al-Walid, radiyallahu anhu. We stopped after another battalion of Amr ibn al-As last time, and that taught us that doesn't matter how early or late you have been in Islam, how status you have in Islam, the Prophet ﷺ chooses the best person for the best job. Although he was only 5 months into being a Muslim, he could get him to lead the battalion. And all the points that the Sahaba thought might be mistakes of him and were angry about, the Prophet ﷺ agreed with him that it was the right decision at that time. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now we are heading towards the major point in Islam that turned the whole factor, which is Fath Makkah. Fath Makkah, or the Conquer of Makkah, is a consequence of Sulh al-Hudaybiyah. The main problem was a main faction problem between the tribes. And as we said, the Arabs were just tribes and tribal attitude, fighting each other. Islam came and eliminated all this and made them one unity, Muslims. No matter which tribe you follow, you're a Muslim first. Then you are from such and such tribe. So Banu Bakr and Khuza'a had a lot of trouble between them before Islam, and it continued. And we did say, if you remember, in Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, Banu Bakr decided to join the Sulh and the treaty with Quraysh. And Khuza'a, who had some of it becoming Muslim, subhanAllah, has joined forces as part of the deal with the Muslim. And part of that deal is, if any of these two tribes fight each other, the others will support them. So if Khuza'a or Banu Bakr attack Khuza'a, the Muslim will come to defend them, and if Khuza'a come to attack Banu Bakr, Quraysh will come to support Banu Bakr. So that was part of the deal. So it will be breaching the treaty if anybody does anything wrong. Banu Bakr, whenever they fought, Khuza'a used to lose. So they always had that hatred towards Khuza'a. They want to defeat them one day. That's throughout the history of Arabia. When Khuza'a made the deal and there was Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, they started feeling more at peace, and they can go to Mecca and do Umrah, do Hajj. Those days, of course, before the proper Muslim Hajj and Umrah, but of course the Muslims used to come still to worship Allah. And they started feeling peace. Okay, we can go now. We don't have to fear Banu Bakr because we are going and there's a treaty. Banu Bakr found that part. Now Khuza'a is going there, they don't have any weapons with them. Why don't we try and get some revenge? So when Khuza'a had a group of people, Muslims and non-Muslims, going to Umrah, So the leader of Banu Bakr was Nawfal ibn Muawiyah. He went to the group, the leaders of Quraysh, and said, you know how much we have problem with Khuza'a? We want to attack them when they come next time. Will you support us? And that was a test for Quraysh and their trustworthiness and their honesty. There's a treaty here. The leaders of Quraysh, most of them said no. But exceptions are always there. The exceptions were, unfortunately, when we look at it now in hindsight, it's shocking. Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl, fine, we accept he's his father and he has the hatred towards Muslim, and he said, yes, I'll help you. Safwan ibn Umayyah, he will help. Now, the problem was when it comes to Suhail ibn Amr. Suhail ibn Amr is the person who signed the treaty. He is the one who made the deal with the Prophet ﷺ. So when he comes and approves that to help Banu Bakr, that's a major treason or breach of the treaty. And the other one was, who agreed with them, he was Huwayt ibn Abdul Uzza, and he was someone who signed as a witness to the treaty. So these are the two that were major change. So Khuza'a came, they camped as they usually do, all the people who come for Umrah, they camp outside the Haram and they do worship. During the day they go to the Haram, do the Umrah and come back to their camp. At night, as the Muslim part of them were worshipping, doing Qiyam, reading Quran, the non-Muslims were sleeping, Banu Bakr came and attacked them. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. They managed to kill 3. The rest woke up to the sound of people shouting, screaming, what's going on? And they said, Banu Bakr, and they ran straight across and entered the boundaries of Haram. And they kept running away, of course. Nawfal, the leader, followed them into Haram with his sword. Banu Nawfal shouted at him, said, Al-Haram, Al-Haram, Nawfal, Al-Haram, Al-Haram. Said, this is haram, you should not kill or hurt anybody in the haram. And he said, La harama lakum, there is no haram for you. You steal inside the haram. Banu Bakr possibly were known, Allahu Alam, to do robberies and stealing. He said, you steal inside the haram, won't you take revenge for your death? And being their leader and being astray, they entered and followed them. And they kept running and running away from them until they reached the house of a man who is from Khuza'a but lives in Mecca, Budayl ibn Warqa. And he's someone who is one of their kind of honorable men. He lived in Mecca. They got to his house and Banu Bakr followed them and killed 20 of them, around 20 is mentioned, by the door of Nawfal. And then the break of dawn was about to come, light coming up. They withdrew and said, before anybody wakes up, we have to hide. So no one knows what happened. Now the one who survived, and Nawfal, their leader, gathered, grouped, and said, what shall we do? Of course, Nawfal, the leader, said, you send someone, one of you must go quickly to Medina and tell the Prophet ﷺ. They sent one who is a poet, one of their men. He's very well known with poetry. He's Amr ibn Salim. He got on his horse and ran to Medina. He did not stop on his way. He kept going and going and going until he got to Medina. And Nawfal and their leader followed him after that, Budayl ibn Warqa. He joined with the other group and said, we'll follow you slowly. So when Amr ibn Salim, the poet, arrived, he went straight to the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba. And with his poetry, he explained to him what happened. And it's a short poet, but subhanAllah, of course, to the Arabs, we can say, Alhamdulillah, I'm an Arab and I can understand the meaning, but unfortunately not all of us can understand the beauty of the poetry that when it comes for the sake of Allah. But he said, Allahumma inni nashidan Muhammada. Oh Allah, I'm asking and calling upon Muhammad. حلف أبينا وأبيه الأخلد, the treaty of his father and our father that is long lasting. قد كنتم ولدا وكنا والدا, you were children and we were the ones who used to be like your parents, because we remember we said Quraysh used to go out to the tribes to have people to breastfeed them and live with them to raise them up. And Khuza'a was one of these tribes that used to take some of their children. ثمة أسلمنا ولم ننزع يدا, we became Muslim, part of them, and we did not remove our hand from Islam. We're still Muslims with you. إن قريشا أخلفوك الموعد, that's the lesson now. Quraysh has betrayed you. ونقضوا ميثاقك المؤكد, and they returned against the treaty you have signed with them. فانصر هداك الله نصرا أعتدى, come and help us to win against them. وَدُعُوا عِبَادَ اللَّهَ يَأْتُوا مَدَدًا, call the Arabs, the Muslims, عِبَادَ اللَّهِ, the Muslims, and they will come to follow you, one after the other. And then after that he just said, when he said, هُمْ بَيَّتُونَ بِالْوَتِيرِ هُجَّدًا, they came to us in the evening when we were in the area where they camped, al-watir, praying to Allah, hujjada, doing tahajjud. نتلو القرآن ركعا وسجدا, we were reading the Quran and doing ruku' and sujud, and they came at night. وجعلوا في فداء رصدا, and then they went into the area of Fida, which is inside the Haram, and they kind of camped for us there. وزعموا أن لن لست أدعو أحدا, and they claimed that I will not call anyone to help. And then we said, وَهُمْ أَذَلُّ وَأَقَلُّ عَدَدًا, and they are low down and low in count and numbers. When the Prophet ﷺ heard that, the Sahaba described that he stood up angry and he was hitting his thigh and shouted twice, نُصِرْتَ يَا عَمْرَ بْنَ سَالِمٍ نُصِرْتَ يَا عَمْرَ بْنَ سَالِمٍ, you will be helped, Amr ibn Salim, we will help you. And that's it. And he left after a few days. Their leader, Budayl ibn Warqa, arrived with the others and explained the whole scenario in details, what happened. Prophet ﷺ understood what's happening now. Now, Quraysh knew that someone will eventually get to Muhammad ﷺ and tell him the story. Now they have breached the treaty. And the breach of the treaty means that the Muslim will come and fight Quraysh. And they were not prepared. They already fought so many times and lost so many times, and they got weaker, and they know that Muhammad ﷺ and the Muslims are getting stronger and more in number. So they had a fear. So they met together and said, what shall we do? A man here called Abdullah ibn Sa'd ibn Abi Sarh, remember this name because it might be recurred later. He is a person who became Muslim and went to Medina, did Hijrah, and used to write al-Wahi, Quran. And subhanAllah, for whatever reason, he reverted back to kufr and started spreading rumors that I used to change the Quran when I used to write it. And the Prophet ﷺ said, he is a liar. He did not change a letter. And it's a proof we know that Allah is the one who protects the Quran. So that's definite, he wouldn't be able to change a letter. But he went, gathered with Quraysh, and said, I know what to do. I know him better than all of you because I lived with him, and I lived with his Sahaba. He said, what shall we do? He said, he will not fight you until he asks you for one of three things. First one, you pay the diyah for all the men you killed. Quraysh said, Wallahi, he will not accept anything, or Khuza'a mainly will not accept anything except taking all our money. Because it's in the haram, so it's a big diyah, not just a murder. So they will not accept that. We will not accept this much. He said, okay, the second one, that you let him fight Banu Bakr and you step aside. They said, if we allow him to do that, none of the Arab will trust us in the future. We had made a deal and we have to honor our word. None of the Arabs will accept that, and Quraysh will be a low quality, honorable people. They won't listen to us. So no, it's not possible. He said then the third one. He said what? He said he will fight you unless you surrender. You surrender to him. At that point, they started asking, how can we do? And they said, you go, Abu Sufyan, you are the leader, you go and talk to him. He said, I have an opinion, we might get away with it. He said, what? He said, I will go to him and ask him to renew our treaty and extend it more than the 10 years. It's only been 2 years since Al-Hudaybiyah now. But we'll say that's of benefit, it's fine, let's extend it further. And if he agrees to that, it will close the door for that. It will kind of this happened after that, so our treaty now is renewed. They said, fine, you go, you know him. So Abu Sufyan went. By the time he arrived to Medina, the Khuza'a were returning back. And Budayl ibn Warqa, their leader, asked them to split away, don't go in groups, everyone goes in from one way. And he's going back to Mecca to his house with a couple of his friends. They met Abu Sufyan on the way. Abu Sufyan saw them, he said, have you been to Medina? He said, no. Of course, they called it Yathrib, not Al-Medina. Have you been to Yathrib? He said, no. He said, do you have any dates from Yathrib with you? He said, no, we don't have any dates from there. And they carried on. Abu Sufyan's always have this knowledge of the Arabs, and he did that before Badr, if you remember. He just looks at the manure of the camels and the horses, and he goes and breaks it into pieces. And as soon as he saw the stones of the dates, he knew that they have been in Medina, because people of Medina are the only people who feed their camels and horses dates, because they have, mashallah, too much of it. So he knew that they have reached the Prophet ﷺ, and they told him the story. Now he had to start another plan. If he goes to the Prophet ﷺ, they will know, no, we know the story, forget about it. So he had to go and say, okay, what is the best way of doing it? So he thought, who does he know in Medina that might help him? And who is closer than his daughter, Habiba, radiallahu anha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he went to see his daughter, knocked the door. She welcomed her father coming in. You know, the respect to parents, no matter if they are Muslim or non-Muslim, we still respect them. Come in. He wanted to sit on a little mattress for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so she folded it away. He looked at her and said, Habiba, is it so low and dirty and I'm a high in status that you folded it, or is it of a higher level to you that you don't want your father to sit on it? Which one is it? He said, this is the mattress of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you are mushrik, najis, not just dirty, najis. Talking to her father, you should not sit on that. He said, Wallahi, something has gone wrong with you. Telling your father this. So he knew she will not be able to help in any way, shape or form. So he had to change another tack. So he thought, who is the closest person to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. He said, let me go to Abu Bakr. He met Abu Bakr. He said, Abu Bakr, you are the closest to Muhammad. Why don't you go and talk to him and take the honor of the Arabs by doing that? To ask him to renew our deal, extend it, and protect, say that you are protecting between people so no fight happens. He said, I am only a person and I will not make a decision without the presence of the Prophet ﷺ. This is between you and the Prophet, nothing with me. So he rejected that. Then he went, who is the next one to talk to? And he said, okay, I need a powerful man, let's go to Umar. And Umar was not, again, to help. So he went, said to the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Muhammad, said, No, I'm sorry, before that, as Abu Sufyan was coming, Sayyidina Muhammad told his Sahaba, he said, I think that Abu Sufyan will be walking down soon, walking in, to say, extend the treaty and renew the deal. Soon after he finishes, Abu Sufyan walks in. He said, what brought you? He said, nothing, I just came to see you, to tell you that the treaty we have is so good to us, everything is going fine, our caravan's passing safely, there have been no fights, our people are happy. Why don't we renew the deal and extend it? He said, why do you want this? Have you done anything? He said, no, we haven't done anything. He said, we are on our deal. So he refused to renew it. So he went and he left out. Gone to Abu Bakr, Ya Abu Bakr, renew the deal. I talked to the Prophet, you are close to him. He said, I will not do anything over Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he went to Abu Umar, Ya Umar, talk to him and stop any fights that might happen. He said, you ask me to help you? Wallahi, if I find no one to fight you, Quraysh, except the ants, I will call the ants and come alone to fight you. You expect me to help you? Sufyan was shocked, what's this? So he went to Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ya Ali, you are his nephew, talk to him, ask him to stop and renew our deal and stop fight between people. He said, this is something in relation to the Prophet, nothing to do with me. So he looked at Fatima, was sitting next to him. Ya Fatima, you are the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ. Just stop any fight. She said, I'm only a woman. She didn't want to get involved. Al-Hassan was with her, still a child. Ask your child, Al-Hassan, to do it. She said, he's a child. What do you expect a child to do? No one would help him. And he kept on looking and looking and thought, okay, Uthman is from my tribe. He's from, Bani Umayyah. So he went, Uthman, you are one of us. Why don't you go and say, I will stop any fight. I will protect the people so no fight happens. And Uthman said, Wallahi, I will not do anything against the wish of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now at this level, Abu Sufyan found there is no way around it. He has to find a trick. So he went back to Ali. Ya Ali, what do you think I should do? Ali radiallahu anhu said, I cannot see anything that can help you, except that you stand amongst the Muslims and say, I have decided to protect everybody so no fight will happen. So he did. He just went in there and said, do you think it will help? He asked Ali. He said, no. SubhanAllah. But he still stood in the middle of the masjid and said, I am Abu Sufyan. I am the leader of Quraysh and Mecca. I have decided that no fight will happen and I will protect the people. The Prophet ﷺ looked at him and said, that is what you are saying. If he stayed silent, remained saying nothing, he will approve. And it's always known that if you say anything and no one answers back, it means that everybody agrees. But the Prophet ﷺ, when he replied, he said, this is what you are saying, means that we do not agree with it. So that was straight to the point, without telling him, we don't agree. Just, this is what you're saying, not us. So Abu Sufyan had no way. He went back to Quraysh and told them the story, that this is what we should do, that's what I said, that's what I did. And they looked at him and said, Wallahi, Ali has played with your brain, your mind, like he plays with a child. Do you think they're going to listen to you telling them that you protect? You haven't done anything. The Prophet ﷺ at that level went into his house, asked Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha to prepare his gear for war. Food, water, his protection, his sword, and start preparing. And he told her that he is planning to go to Mecca, keep it secret. And men unfortunately always claim that women cannot keep a secret. And I think women can possibly take more secrets than men sometimes, subhanAllah. Her father came, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, coming in, he walked to see the Prophet ﷺ, he saw her preparing the war, gear for war. He said, what's this? He said, I'm preparing for the Prophet ﷺ. He said, did he ask you to prepare it? He said, yes. He said, does he want to go for war? He said, I think so. He said, where is he going? He said, I don't know. It's a secret of the Prophet ﷺ. Keeps it. And that's her father, the closest person to the Prophet ﷺ. If the Prophet doesn't tell him, she wouldn't. He said, maybe he wants Hawazin, because there's still some friction, of course, with other tribes. He said, I don't know. He said, possibly the Romans. There's still, you remember Mu'tah, there's still some avenge action with them. He said, I don't know. He said, maybe he wants Quraysh. He said, I don't know. The Prophet ﷺ came and saw him. He said, Ya Rasulullah, you're preparing for war? He said, yes. He said, should we prepare and get ready? He said, yes. So shall I tell the people to prepare? He said, of course. He said, where do you want to go? Are you going to Hawazin? He said, no. He said, are you going to the Romans? He said, no. He said, are you going to Mecca? He said, yes, but don't tell anyone. So the closest person to him knows. And they went, the word spread that everybody get ready, and the Prophet ﷺ sent people to the nearest Muslim tribes around Medina to gather all. And he prepared, because they were so big in numbers, subhanAllah, now coming, he asked them to camp outside Medina. And he got an army to protect all the roads outside Medina, that they would do not let anybody leave Medina in any way, shape or form. People can come in, but not out, to keep that secret until he moves. As this is happening, Hatib ibn Balta'a radiallahu anh decided to send a message to Quraysh that Muhammad is coming to you. And nowadays we call it treason. And military treason has a special penalty across the globe, death penalty. Even up to date in the best of the countries that claim that they're human rights, if it comes and it's truthful, honest, it's death penalty. But he got the letter, wrote it, got a woman, asked her to take this in secret to Quraysh and take an unusual way. She took unusual roads, subhanAllah, and managed to escape the guards and managed to find her way towards Mecca. As she was going, the Prophet ﷺ suddenly called two of the Sahaba, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anh, and Zubayr ibn al-Awwam radiallahu anhum ajma'in. And he said, you go on such and such a road, Jibreel is here telling me, there is a woman with a letter to Quraysh. You bring that letter and bring the woman back. So they got onto their horses and ran to the area that the Prophet described to them. And they found the woman. They stopped her. Ali told her, give us the letter you have with you. She said, what letter? I have nothing with me. He said, Wallahi, we have not been lied to. Neither the Prophet, he was not lied upon either. Get the letter out or we will search you. And searching a woman, even forget about Islam, non-Islam, searching a woman is a big indecency and something low to happen for a woman. She said, okay, fine. She saw that they are serious. Said, turn away. They turned, she took off her hijab, undid a tie and knot in her hair and got the letter from there. She had it completely concealed so no one would see where it is. She handed the letter, they took the woman and the letter and back to the Prophet ﷺ. When they arrived, he called Hatib. He said, Hatib, what is this? Hatib looked at the Prophet and says, Ya Rasulullah, Wallahi, I have not made nifaq. I'm still mu'min in Allah and you. But all of you here, the muhajireen, are still family and people to protect your relatives who are still in Mecca. They still have some power and might for the others. My relatives there have no one. I wanted to have a hand with Quraysh that they can protect my family, and I know that if you will go there, Allah will make you successful. But I just wanted to protect my family. Wallahi, I have not become a hypocrite. Umar ibn al-Khattab, as we know him, he's very straight and sharp. He took his sword and said, Ya Rasulullah, let me kill him. He is a hypocrite. The Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Umar, he is a man of Badr. And maybe Allah has looked at the people of Badr and said, do what you wish, I have forgiven you. Radiallahu anhum ajma'in. And at that stage, he forgave him. And that's what I'm saying, at military treason, but he forgave him. He's someone from Badr. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam what's in people's heart. So he did know as well what's in his heart. Now, after this, they gathered out, and as they were preparing to go, subhanAllah, they gathered 7,500 men for that, to go into Mecca. You remember, Muslims have always been hundreds. The best they had was 1,000. Now, to Mu'tah, there were 3,000. Now, to preparing for Mecca after this preparation, and Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, that Allah called it Fath, Inna fatahna laka fathan mubina, that was al-Hudaybiyah. This was the proper Fatah, is that treaty. After that, the number more than doubled. As they were about to move, Uyayna ibn Hisn, the leader of Ghatafan, remember he was the one who was about to fight the Muslims in Khaybar with the Jews, he came to the Prophet announcing his Islam. But he came on his own with few men, not with his tribe, just to tell him that Ghatafan is Muslim now, we have become Muslim. As they started the move, a little bit after moving out from Medina, the Prophet ﷺ sees a group of fighters, a military of its own, 1,000 men, all on horses, Banu Sulaym, coming, all Muslims. They were just coming to announce their Islam. They did not know there's a fight or anything, but they came 1,000 men on horses to announce the Islam of Banu Sulaym, just to show the honor, their honor and the honor of Islam. The Prophet ﷺ was extremely happy with this, another 1,000. And then more tribes suddenly, subhanAllah, they're coming to announce their Islam in that period, until the army got to 10,000 men. The army going to Mecca. Uyayna ibn Hisn started getting upset, He lost the honor of having, his tribe with him, and went to the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, Wallahi, we didn't know you were fighting. I would have brought Ghatafan with me. He said, don't worry, that's fine. Don't worry. He said, don't look at these Banu Sulaym 1,000. They are nothing. They don't know how to fight. And they started trying to demean others to show off. SubhanAllah, Islam is still not in the heart proper. Trying to mock others. Banu Sulaym said, bring your tribe and we will fight you. And they're about to start fighting amongst themselves. This is what is still when Islam hasn't touched the hearts proper. Prophet ﷺ came and said, stop that argument. Tribalism is not in Islam. You're Muslims now, you're brothers, there's nothing called tribal. No more. And he stopped it again. Remember we said in Ghazwat al-Mustaliq, Al-Muhajirin Ansar were about to fight. And in this episode here, you had the leader of Ghatafan and Banu Sulaym about to start again. So the Prophet eliminated that again. Unity, Islam. The Prophet ﷺ divided the troops into your usual 5 divisions that the Arabs used to have: the heart, center, and the front, back, and right and left wings. And he put at the front Banu Sulaym with 200 of them with Khalid ibn Walid as the leader. And he kept sending messages to Khalid where to move. And he said, I want you now to start moving towards Hawazin. Hawazin is not towards Mecca, it's going another way. So Muslims thought, okay, the troops were going to attack Hawazin, because Hawazin was preparing. As they were going and carrying on, as they got closer to Hawazin, Khalid ibn Walid managed to capture a man from Hawazin. As they captured him, he said, where are you from? He said, I'm from Khuza'ah, because he knows Khuza'ah has a link and deal with Muslims. He said, from which part of Khuza'ah? Because the tribes were not just one. There were different tribes led by different heads and a bigger head. Which part of them? And he could not answer. So he got him, he said, now tell me the truth or I will kill you. He said, I'm from Hawazin. He said, what are you doing here? He said, I'm their spy. I sit away to check what's happening on the roads and go back and tell them. So he took him to the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet started asking what's happening, and told him that Hawazin has prepared and they were preparing an army to go and attack the Muslims in Medina. So the Prophet ﷺ said, just lock him up. Just lock him up. Don't send him free and keep him with us. And as they were going, they carried on. As they reached a part of theirs, subhanAllah, the Prophet ﷺ sent a message to Khalid ibn Walid to divert down towards Mecca. The troops were confused. We're close to Hawazin. Why are we diverting now? And they, of course, Khalid would obey. He didn't know where they're going, Khalid. He just obeyed the orders of the Prophet ﷺ. He is the leader of the front troops, and everybody will follow him. And at that stage, when they arrived closer to Mecca, the Prophet ﷺ changed the orders again of the troops. And he divided them into 4 groups. The first one led by Khalid ibn Walid and the 1,000 men of Banu Sulaym. Still, that's the first group. And then he gave the other groups led by Az-Zubayr ibn al-Awwam and Abu Ubaidah Amir ibn al-Jarrah. And they were leading the 2 other tribes, the Arab tribes divisions, and he gave Sa'd ibn Ubadah al-Ansari, the leader of the Ansar, the leadership of al-Muhajirin al-Ansar. So the Muhajirin Ansar were one group, led by Sa'd. The Arab other tribes were divided into 3, Banu Sulaym with Khalid, and the others divided into 2 with Abu Ubaidah Amir ibn Jarrah and al-Zubayr ibn al-Awwam, radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. When they reached about 4 miles from Mecca, no one knew yet where they are, where they're going. A man, out of the blue, decided to come out as a muhajir for hijrah. The man that will give the most pleasure to the Prophet ﷺ, Al-Abbas radiyallahu anhu. He came and saw all these troops suddenly coming, and noticed, of course, he knew Khalid as the leader, and he went and did a shahada. And he is the last muhajir in Islam. Al-Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib. Of course, you can imagine the happiness of the Prophet ﷺ when he saw his uncle coming as a Muslim. When Al-Abbas saw all this, he knew that if this army attacks Mecca, it will be the elimination of Quraysh. So he wanted to try and see if they can get Quraysh and Abu Sufyan to surrender. They camped close to Mecca, nightfall, and at that stage, Quraysh were still discussing what should we do, especially that there were no news now for a long time. There were no news coming from Medina. The Prophet ﷺ stopped anybody leaving. No one knows what the Muslims are preparing, and they just gathered and say, what should we do? What should we do? And they gathered and said, Abu Sufyan, why don't you go to Medina again and check what they want or what's going on? And if you find that the Muslim and Muhammad ﷺ has gathered troops that we cannot fight, surrender Mecca to him. So they had that already in their hearts. That's it, we cannot find any more fight. Surrender Mecca. But if you find that they're still weak, come back and we'll prepare an army and fight. So they still haven't surrendered. Abu Sufyan went out. He didn't want to go all the way to Medina again. He was trying to hope that he might catch someone coming from Medina. So he went out to that main road that leads to Medina, and suddenly he saw all these fires lit. And you can tell at night when there are people camping and there's a small fire, that's fine. When you see a massive army camping, you can imagine what the fires look like. He just said, who are those? And as he was walking, he saw another man from Mecca, Hakim ibn Huzam. He was just wandering around, just checking what's happening. So he met Hakim ibn Huzam and started asking, do you know what's going on? At the same time, Al-Abbas was on his way towards Mecca to see if he can find Abu Sufyan as the leader and ask him to surrender Mecca, so no elimination wipe out happen. And a fourth man was going out, waiting and expecting the arrival of the Muslims. And that was the leader of Khuza'a, or we said Budayl ibn Warqa, who lived in Mecca. Every night he would go out and see, are they coming, are they not coming? So he had now 4 people trying to meet or see if they can meet and see what's happening. So the first people to meet were Hakim ibn Hizam and Abu Sufyan, wondering what's happening, and then Budayl ibn Warqa arrived. And they knew that Budayl ibn Warqa is from Khuza'a and he's close to the Muslims, and they started asking him, said, Ya Budayl, do you know who these are? He said, no, I don't. Maybe they're Khuza'a coming to attack you after what you did to them? He said, go on, Budayl, you know Khuza'a, they're not that massive of an army to do this. That is not them. And he started saying, oh, could it be that army, could it be that tribe? And they couldn't understand. Of course, he was trying, he knew that it is the Muslims, but he didn't want them to prepare. As they were talking, Al-Abbas was coming back and he heard the voice of Abu Sufyan. He said, oh, Abu Sufyan. He said, Abu al-Fadl, come here. He didn't know that he had left and he's a Muslim yet. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. How are you? What's going on? He said, Wallahi, I left behind me Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam with the Arabs, not just the Muslims, with the Arabs coming to fight you. Surrender Mecca or it will be the end of Quraysh. He said, who's with him? He said, Banu Sulaym. He said, what is it to do for me to do with Banu Sulaym? He said, Ghafar. What did he do with Ghafar? So he started counting the tribes. And he didn't know, okay, what should I do? He said, the best way for you is to surrender it. He said, but my head is wanted. I'm the leader of Quraysh, so if I go, they will kill me. He said, the best way, go and announce your Islam. You will protect yourself. He said, but by the time I get to him, he said, don't worry, you're under my protection. Come with me. So Abu Sufyan saw the army. He knew that this is not a game anymore. And he already had an approval from Quraysh if he sees that he can surrender Mecca. So it wasn't something he had to decide and make a decision about in a short time. He got behind Al-Abbas. Al-Abbas was riding the mule of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, come with me, don't ride on your own. So he got him up with him and started riding. And of course the guards would see Al-Abbas, say, oh, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ on the mule of the Prophet ﷺ, let him pass, let him pass. And he would carry on going until Umar saw him. He's always on guard, radiallahu anhu. He said, Abu Sufyan, the head of Kufr, Allah has handed you to us without any protection. Al-Abbas said, Umar, he is under my protection. He said, he has no protection, this one. And then Umar started running on foot to the Prophet ﷺ. Al-Abbas understood his plan. He wanted to get an approval to kill. So he started galloping with the mule to get to the Prophet. Now the race, who arrives first to the Prophet ﷺ to get the approval to kill Abu Sufyan or to protect Abu Sufyan. And you can imagine Umar ibn Khattab with his heart, how hot he can be. He kept running and went and reached the Prophet ﷺ. Said, Ya Rasulullah, Abu Sufyan, Allah has handed him without any protection or anything. As he finished, Al-Abbas entered. Ya Rasulullah, I have given him protection. The Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Umar, leave him. Of course, Umar was angry. You can tell, radiallahu anhu. But Prophet, he listens. Now he learned his lessons. Listen to the Prophet ﷺ. He's been so many times going with his anger, and Allah proved that Prophet ﷺ was right. So he calmed down, and the Prophet ﷺ looked at Abu Sufyan, said, oh, Abu Sufyan, is it not time that you bear witness that there is no God but Allah? He said, Ya Rasulullah, oh, Ya Muhammad, if there were any God apart from Allah, they would have helped us today. So there is no God but Allah. He said, is it not time that you bear witness that I am the messenger of Allah? Said, in this there is still something in the heart. So he can't say yes to it. So Al-Abbas gave him a nudge. Said, Abu Sufyan, just believe he is the Prophet, the messenger of Allah. Can't you see what's happened? Can't you believe in this? So Abu Sufyan said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, did the Shahada. But as he said, there is still something in the heart about it. He's not fully in it. So Al-Abbas said, Ya Rasulullah, Abu Sufyan is a man of honor. And he likes that he show off, as we call it nowadays in our terminology. Give him something that he can go to people of Mecca and have a pride with it. He said, you go to Mecca and tell them, whoever enters the house of Abu Sufyan, he is safe. Sufyan was so happy with that, his house. He said, Ya Rasulullah, my house is so little, it doesn't take enough people to protect them. He said, and whoever enters Al-Masjid Al-Haram, he is safe. He said, Ya Rasulullah, Masjid is small. It's not as it is nowadays, subhanAllah, as we know it. It used to be just a little circle. It wouldn't take the people of Quraysh. Still more, he said, and whoever gets into his house and close the door behind him, he is safe. He said, this is good. That's enough. So our terminology nowadays, it's a total curfew. When the Muslims get in, no one in the streets. If they see anyone, they are to be killed. That is the best way. You want to be safe, you enter your house, close your door, or enter the haram. As Abu Sufyan was pleased with all this, he said, yes, fine, alhamdulillah. The Prophet ﷺ ordered Al-Abbas, he said, keep him with you tonight. Don't let him go yet. So he stayed the night with the Muslims, and he spent the night there. As they started the following day, they wanted to wake up, and then Abu Sufyan got ready, and he wanted to get into Mecca to tell his people that, okay, now we get into your houses, and you're safe from Muhammad, we surrender. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Abbas said, follow him. And when he reaches between the two hills, stop him there. Specific. So Sufyan went, and Al-Abbas followed him after that. He gave him some time to leave. As Abu Sufyan reached that place, Al-Abbas shouted, Abu Sufyan, stop! He turned and said, is it betrayal, Ya Banu Hashim? Are you betraying us? You're going to stab me in the back now? He said, no, I want to talk to you. Al-Abbas said, you scared me. Just say, wait a minute, what's this stop? He said, Wallahi, I never thought that this fear has reached you to the level that you fear me calling you. That was what happened in his heart. He was scared of what happened. Even though he became Muslim and he's have all now the freedom and everybody is free in his house and safe, the safety, he was still scared. He said, wait. He said, what? He said, I don't know. Prophet ﷺ asked me you to stop here. So he waited with him. As he was waiting, the Prophet ﷺ ordered the tribes to do a military parade. Just pass by him. And every tribe that reached that area would do takbir 3 times. You can imagine now. Started by Banu Sulaym, because with Khalid ibn Walid as the first tribe in the front, and he just saw all these 1,000 horsemen all geared up, ready, and reached there and did takbir 3 times. You can imagine the fear in his heart. He says, who are those? He said, those are Banu Sulaym. What is to us and Banu Sulaym? We haven't fought them. We are Quraysh. He said, they are Muslims. And they passed. Then the second group and the third group, and every group passing, doing takbir 3 times, Allahu Akbar. And Abu Sufyan knew that there is no way except surrendering Mecca. So the Prophet ﷺ wanted to give him that if he has any second thoughts, don't try it for the sake of Quraysh. It wasn't that, okay, the might of Muslim, it was for the sake of Quraysh. He did not want death in the haram. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And the last group was to come was Al-Muhajirin wal-Ansar, led by the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They were all covered up, geared up with metal. No one could see anything except their eyes. And as they came, Abu Sufyan said, who are those? Al-Abbas said, have you not recognized them? He said, no, wallahi, these people, no one can stop in front of them. the discipline he saw, how they move, how they walk, how the respect of the discipline, military discipline they had, he said, no one can stand in front of them. He said, this is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, with al-muhajirina and ansar. And then Prophet ordered him to leave. Now Abu Sufyan has seen facts, not just a word that, okay, this is not me. He saw what they're like. He went, entered to Mecca, met with the other Meccans, said, what do you think, what's happening? He said, Muhammad and the Muslims are outside Mecca, surrender Mecca. Otherwise, it will be the elimination, wipe out. He said, is that what you think? Now, Hind bint Utbah, his wife, her father, her brothers were killed in Badr, and she managed to get Wahshi to kill Hamza, you remember? She still hated Islam to the bones. And she started shouting, don't listen to this liar, don't listen to this fat man, kill him. He is someone, he's betraying us, you must kill him. She wanted them to kill Abu Sufyan, her husband, just for the sake of not surrendering. And Abu Sufyan looked at them and said, don't listen to a woman. Wallahi, I have seen them. You surrender Mecca. I said, what should we do? He said, whoever enters the house of Abu Sufyan, he is safe. They started laughing. He said, are you just mocking us? What does your house take? He said, and whoever enters al-Masjid al-Haram, he is safe. He said, yes, but a masjid is too little, it wouldn't take Quraysh. He said, and whoever enters his house and locks the door, he is safe. They said, okay, that is good. So they started running getting all their family, children in, closed their doors, no one in the streets. And that was the total curfew. I will stop at this level here because if I can carry on, inshallah, it will take possibly another dars to finish and complete Fatih Mecca with what happens and the sequence of events. Inshallah, next week I will go through the phases of going into Mecca and what happened to the people of Mecca, and towards the end, inshallah, and we'll carry on as we go. جزاكم الله خيرا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.